Hey everybody, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff. We'll be talking about that when we get to some of our first things,
Yeah.
just with how hot some of these comics are. So sit back, relax, grab a computer, go to infinityflux.net, follow along. Place your pre-orders there as we get going. So let's start with our first section, our featured comics.
Okay, so we're starting with a number 2. Normally there's like some big number 1.
This is a brand new thing for our show.
Yeah.
But this is under featured comics, and we need to get this information out there.
That's right. So we are starting with Ultimate Black Panther number 2. Number 1 came out this week. It sold out instantly everywhere. So we wanted to go ahead and tell you right now up front that the final order cutoff date for Ultimate Black Panther number 2 is this weekend. So you only have a couple more days left. We have the weekend.
Yeah.
You have tonight and the weekend to get your pre-orders in with your shop. So definitely do that. If you missed out on issue number 1 and you're wanting issue number 2, definitely let your store know this weekend because it's your last chance to do it. Because in this issue, Moon Knight's forces attack Wakanda, and we saw who Moon Knight. Well, it's not your traditional Moon Knight; it's something different. But Moon Knight's forces attack Wakanda, and T'Challa can no longer resist Shuri's and the Dora Milaje's urges to go on the offensive, basically. And somebody in Wakanda has been leaking information to Moon Knight. It sounds weird. Moon Knight is more of a group, I guess, instead of a person. But somebody in Wakanda has been leaking information to Moon Knight, and T'Challa wants to know who is doing that. And there's a prophecy about T'Challa that threatens to upend the war and all of Wakandan life. So it sounds really cool. At the end of the first issue, the things look like they were really going to get started rolling, and I think it's going to all start in this issue. So
and look at the cover with the Maker in the background.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like him being back there because it's like he's not the puppet master, but he's the one responsible for the world being the way it is right now. So he's always kind of looming back there in the shadows. So yeah, there's Moon Knight on the cover. There's your gods Ra and Khonshu right there, and Black Panther and Shuri taking them on. So again, do not miss your chance to pre-order because this weekend is the deadline. So we have our A cover right here. We have a BOSSLOGIC cover. We have a NATACHA BUSTOS variant, and then second printing of number 1 is also on FOC for this coming weekend. So if you did miss the first issue, here's your chance to do it again. This is the second printing. Your deadline to pre-order is this weekend. So please let your shop know, hey, I want both issues of Ultimate Black Panther, and you should be able to get it.
Yeah, I harp on this because as working in a comic book store, I've been getting calls for days being like, hey, can you set me aside an Ultimate Black Panther or whatever? And it's like, I wish we had the copies that I could sell to you, but we don't. But everyone who pre-ordered this book back when we originally talked about it, when they announced it, all of that, everyone got their copy. So that's how easy it is. You just have to go on there, order it, and it'll be there for you. No questions asked, other than pay for it.
Yeah, right. And please pay for it. If you pre-order it, please come in and pay for it.
But just don't forget infinityflux.net so you don't miss out on any of these comics. That's why we do these videos. That's why we care. Next up, Jackpot and Black Cat number 1. This is a new mini-series, a limited series. I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing this is going to be 6 issues. This feels like a 5 to 6 issue.
Well, Marvel's lately have been like 4 or 5.
Oh, so maybe shorter.
Anywhere between 4 to 6, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So this sounds really interesting. We have Jackpot, which is Mary Jane, who's become kind of a... she hasn't really had too much of an outing yet. The one shot during Gang War was kind of her first big thing. But in this one, someone blackmails Black Cat into committing blatant crimes in public. I'm not sure if it's like because they want what she steals or they're there to like, make her look bad.
They want her to get arrested. Maybe they need her to be thrown in jail out of the way so they can go do something.
Exactly. I'm not quite sure. But Mary Jane, it says, comes to her aid for all this because there is some classic villain that is somewhat related to one of them. It doesn't say who, but someone from their past that is doing all this. Now, this is interesting though. I looked up issue number 2, and it talks about like half of New York is out to kill Mary Jane, including Black Cat. I was like, whoa, things really flip after
That's
issue
weird.
1. So
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what the overall story is, but it still mentions that somebody close to them is behind this. So I'm very excited about this. It sounds really fun.
I love when the two of them get together,
Yeah.
regardless of the situation, whether it's crime fighting or just when they were taking care of Peter when he was in the hospital at the end of
Yeah.
that one Nick Spencer's run. Like, I love when they're together.
Yeah, very cool. And we've got some great covers for this. So this is, of course, our Adam Hughes A cover. I believe Adam Hughes is doing the A covers for all of these because it
Okay.
is issue number 2 is also him. We also have a Black Cat.
It's a Marvel masterpiece.
Yeah, okay, that's what MMP2 means.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Masterworks card. We have an Elizabeth Torque variant. We have a LAISO foil variant. Very cool. We have a Joey VAZQUEZ cover. We have a Sean Galloway. This is one of their Saturday morning variants.
Is that Paul?
Is that Paul? If that's Paul, it kind of looks more like Dan Slott, but
Yeah, it looks like when Carrie Andrews did that one issue and Paul was just jacked.
Yeah.
And then he went back to being a little scrawny nerd. And the rest
So we'll have to see. And then we also have a Yoon Jackpot variant.
All right, next is a Black Widow and Hawkeye #1. This is a new, well, I don't know how many issues this miniseries is going to be. They're anywhere between 4 and 6, probably. Written by Stephanie Phillips, and the art is by Paolo Villanelli. And in this one, Clint Barton is actually accused of a rogue assassination attempt that sort of puts the U.S. and Madripoor at odds. And it's cool to see Madripoor getting a little bit of love in the comics, because we have the Madripoor Knights miniseries right now, and then it's going to play a factor in this as well. And Black Widow, who is equipped with her symbiote, you can see there on the cover, she comes to his aid, and bits of their past ripple into the present, and they'll have to have all their faith in each other to protect their future. So maybe we're going to get a cool, like, little bit more backstory on Black Widow and Hawkeye back in the day, and maybe that'll influence what's happening now, what may influence what happens later.
I hope we get flashbacks to like the different costumes and the different
Yeah,
eras.
that would be great. That would be great. Maybe like, their first joining the event, or he joined the Avengers without her. She was a villain. She was an Iron Man villain. So maybe like some of that.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see that modernized.
They talk about characters I love teamed up. Like, they're like best friends.
Right.
They've got such a history together.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be really cool in this.
Yeah, so I love seeing them together, and it's been a while since we've seen them together doing something. So, cool new miniseries. So we have this A cover here. We also have an Adam Hughes cover for this one as well, and there's your classic costumes right there. We have an ARTGERM variant. That's the original Black Widow costume, and then a Mark Brooks headshot variant with just Hawkeye. That's his horns are really coming up there.
Yeah, he's challenging Wolverine for a height of mask points. Next up, we've got Suicide Squad Dream Team #1. This is going to be a 4-issue miniseries that I could find. This is going to be written by Nicole Maines, your star that played Dreamer in the Arrowverse. Now she's written quite a few comics and like backup stories and that kind of thing.
And good ones too.
Yeah, very good ones. And she's like the solo writer helming this one, which I think is really cool. And the art is by Eddie Barrows, who I believe also did this cover. This is really interesting. We've seen pieces of this for a few months in different books as Amanda Waller is pulling together some different characters to create this new Suicide Squad team. But what is their purpose? You know it's got to be bad with Amanda Waller at the head of it, but she's very smart and tactical. So each of these players is going to play a key part in what this mission is going to be. I actually just read this. We've got a like what they send to retailers, a digital copy. There was no color in it, but I did read it. And I don't want to give away what their mission is, but of course you need Dreamer there because she can see the future. She's precog type thing.
Yeah.
So that plays a big factor in it. But she also has some other powers that Amanda Waller wants to kind of try out for this new Task Force X team. Harley Quinn is really great in this, also being like I was only supposed to do community service this time. Why am I back
Yeah.
on Suicide Squad? But it's really fun, and this does feel like it's setting the stage for something really big coming later on in the year. This feels like the first, like, whatever happens here is going to have some ripple
Yeah.
effects going forward, especially with Dreamer's precog abilities. Maybe she's gonna see some stuff that we might have to piece together to figure out
Yeah.
what is going to be happening.
But after reading that first issue, we still aren't, even after that first issue, we still aren't quite sure what
yeah,
her Amanda Waller's overall goal is. But there is some stuff in there that is very interesting. Like,
yeah, very cool. Ties back into some other stories that we
Yep.
haven't really visited in a little
Mhm.
while. So, if you are a big fan, like I am, I love following. The companies do kind of big events each year or big storylines. I love following those through their different little parts and mini series. So this is going to be a great one for that. We've got our A cover right here. We also had a Federici variant, which is very cool. You see some of the team members on there, including Clock King. We have a Sweeney Boo variant as well.
Next is Symbiote Spider-Man 2099 #1. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. I can tell you that much. What's cool about this is it's written by Peter David, your Spider-Man 2099 creator, writer of the original series back in the 90s. The art is by I don't know if that's supposed to be Roge or Roger. I don't know if I left off the R, but Antonio. And in this one, there's a guy named Cronstone who was the Venom of 2099. He wages an all-out assault on Alchemax, and the only way to stop him lies with the power awakened by a top-secret project gone terribly wrong. And that looks like the cover. That looks like that's
Looks
definitely
like
gone
something that
wrong.
went terribly wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And what will Miguel O'Hara have to sacrifice to seal the bond with his new symbiote? So, Miguel O'Hara is going to get a symbiote. And I think the cover for #2 actually shows him. And it looks like how, Venom is a really beefy Spider-Man with a spider. Like, him in the symbiote is a really beefy version of him. Like, it's
Interesting.
you can see a lot of his costume in it, but he's big and beefy, and it looks really cool. So, just another cool new Spider-Man 2099
Especially
miniseries.
written by Peter David.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the kicker here is, this is your original 2099 writer who knows the character so well.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
And we have seen Venom 2099 before, the one it refers to initially.
I believe so, yeah.
But just never bonded with Miguel.
Right. I can't remember when it was. Wasn't there I think aren't there like 2 Venom 2099s?
I think so.
Because the other one, there's a female one. I think she was in the last miniseries, or this miniseries before that, I should say. Yeah, it's been a while. I can't quite remember.
I feel
all
like
of
this
it.
is going to be kind of the definitive symbiote story, though. For 2099.
So we have our cool A cover right here. We have a Greg Land cover. We have
Is that kind of like his?
Yeah, but the one I saw, he was like really hulking like this. There's a La Roca Miss Minutes variant, which why are they
I was about to
getting
say,
Miss Minutes variant?
I understood before Loki season 2 the Miss
Yeah.
Minutes variants, but now it's like, okay, considering if you watch the show, she pretty much had a big hard factory reset.
Right, and I don't like the last time they did some Miss Minutes variants. There was like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any others besides this one. So maybe they're doing it just because it's future, it's time
Maybe.
travel kind of thing. I don't know. And then there's a Todd Knock headshot. Well, this is a headshot variant, but that looks a lot more than a headshot.
That looks like the window shades variant.
Yeah, and that's still not the cover I saw, but you can see a lot more of
He's definitely
him being.
he got real.
Yeah, he's swole.
Like even his little eye things are
Yeah.
going off his head.
Yeah.
Next up, I want to talk about Void Rivals issue number. This is
7.
7. Yes, issue number 7. This is beginning of the big second story arc. Now I wanted to put this in our featured section because I feel like a lot of people have come on board with the Energon universe with Transformers #1. Then they went on to get Duke #1, Cobra Commander #1, Duke #2, all of that. But maybe you never checked out Void Rivals, which was the kind of instigating book for all of this. So there is a trade paperback for Volume 1 that is out, and now you can get that and then jump into this and be all caught up with the Energon universe as this begins, which we already know from some light spoilers of future issues. we're going to be seeing more Transformers in this. We're going
Yeah.
to be seeing more stuff that's I feel like the backbone of the Energon
Yeah,
universe.
I think issue number 9 is when another Transformer pops up. So that'll be pretty
I don't
cool.
know if there was an issue of Void Rivals though that didn't have some like
There was
interesting
something, yeah.
little Easter egg in there, and I'm very interested to see because we still have so many questions in Void Rivals,
Hmm.
just about the whole like where are they, what are they doing, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. That I feel like you'll maybe some people will regret not getting on this by the time some of that stuff is revealed.
Yeah, because if we don't know, but if it turns out that Void Rivals, like maybe they, it all, because we're gonna learn some more in Free Comic Book Day too.
Yeah.
There's a big Energon Universe book. But if it turns out that Void Rivals finally circles back around and has some kind of huge connection to all the other Energon stuff, then I know I would be kicking myself. I'm like, I should have been reading that because now this thing is super awesome.
Because I still have my theory about
Yeah,
Unicron
yeah.
and all of that. But
I think that's more. I think that's more of a wishful thinking than a theory,
but you never know. There's so many surprises in this book,
Mhm.
so definitely check out Void Rivals. Other than it being connected to the Energon universe, it's a fantastic book with great characters. You won't be disappointed if you've enjoyed any of the other books in this line coming out.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about it here too because it's been on break for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like issue 6 came out 2 or 3 months ago, and to be fair, they said it's taking a break so that we can get the
Yeah.
other books out. So it's not like it's been
They
delayed
did
or
mention in
anything.
that too, like we want everything to catch up to
Yeah.
those for the Transformers and Duke and Cobra Commander to catch up to Void Rivals somewhat. So it makes me think they're still trying to keep some synergy
Yeah.
close to each other.
Yeah, so just want to let you know that it's back now. It's time to start pre-ordering again.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the first 6, it's time to get back on the wagon.
Yep, this is our A cover, and then we also have this Bellegarde variant, which is some of the most colorful we've seen in
Yeah.
some Void Rivals covers.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Next is Batman and Dylan Dog #1. This is going to be a 3-issue miniseries. And in this one, so if you don't know, and I didn't know either, Dylan Dog is actually an Italian comic about this paranormal investigator named Dylan Dog. I'm pretty sure it's pretty popular over there. And I think there's some that have been like localized here.
Yeah.
I've never read any, but
The
it's
thing I always associate with this, there was the movie with Brandon Routh.
yeah. Which supposedly is wildly different though.
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
original.
but that's kind of where I think people have heard the name before.
Yeah. So in this one, Batman is in London because the Joker is in London because he is trying to seal a hellish pact with Dylan Dog's nemesis, Professor Zabaros. And Batman and Dylan Dog are going to have to team up, right? That's what the heroes do. When their villains team up, the heroes have to team up too. And they're going to have to forge an uneasy alliance because, again, the old comic book trope of they can't just like be buddies right off the bat. And they're going to have to put aside their differences to successfully confront and defeat an evil that comes from the past. So that should be pretty easy, pretty interesting to check out. So yeah,
Not easy.
Definitely not easy, but interesting to check out. So yeah, check this out. A cool new Batman miniseries with the Joker, and also it may be a new character to you, Dylan. It'll be the first,
maybe a character that will become one of your favorites.
Yeah, it'll be a first time for me reading that character for sure. So we have our A cover right here, and then we have a. Both it's the same artist on both of these. This is GIGI CAVENAGO.
Which I believe is your interior artist too.
Well, yeah, they are, and also Werther Dell'Edera, who is your artist on Something's Killing the Children.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure how those art duties are going to be divided up, but yeah, I believe that's what the interior is going to look like, and I like it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Goon, Them That Don't Stay Dead, #1. This is a 4-issue miniseries, and this is really interesting because for a few years, the Goon has been published through Eric Powell's own studio publisher, Albatross, but this one is actually back with Dark Horse, where kind of the Goon began. And this sounds really fun because it's 25 and 25th at the same time.
25th.
Yeah, 25. This is the 25th anniversary of The Goon. If you've never read The Goon, it is fantastic. It is essentially about a goon, a henchman, but he's become a protagonist. He's a good guy. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a good guy. But he's in this world full of vampires and zombies and all of that. Very Hellboy like, but just fantastic. Eric Powell's art is amazing, and this is a new mini series, which I feel like is they're also kind of doing as a good jumping on point, as kind of getting
Yeah.
it back out
Well,
there.
I have never read any Goon books. I'm
Okay.
familiar with the character. I remember seeing it back in the 90s, but I've never read any. And I did not know until reading about this book that it was even had a supernatural bent
Oh
to
yeah,
it.
very
Yeah,
big.
I had no idea. So I was like, that sounds really
It's all about
cool.
like there's this town. I forgot, like Lonely Street is like kind of where they hang out, and there's different gangs, but the gangs are like vampires and
That's
zombies,
awesome.
and he kind of has to keep them separated and all of that. And he's got his little friend that is kind of the the deal maker and wants to have the big plans and stuff, and
Yeah.
Goon just kind of wants to chill out all the time. And
He looks like a his little buddy there looks like, he's like from a 30s cartoon strip like, Dagwood or something,
yeah, I wish I could remember his name right off the bat, but I can't. But there's great omnibuses of Goon out. But in this one, the Goon has kind of settled things down in his town and wants to just go bowling. But a new threat rises up that will keep him from just enjoying his downtime, and I imagine is going to escalate pretty rapidly. But I mean, this is really close to what the interior art of this looks like as well. Eric Powell's art is very detailed, but still has a lot of whimsy and cartooniness to it. So don't miss this one. If you've never read Goon, try this out. I think you'll really like it because I really like it. I'm a fan of Hellboy. This
Mm.
goes side by side with that really well.
Has there ever been a Goon and Hellboy team
I
up book?
believe.
Oh, seriously?
I don't know if it was a book, but I believe they have met
That's cool.
before.
That's awesome. I want to track that
But
down.
Hellboy's met a lot of people, including like the Ninja
It's
Turtles
true.
and Wesley Dodds Sandman, I believe.
Really?
It's
I want to read that too.
yeah, something like that. But so we've got our A cover here, and then we also have this is the Davison variant, little kid goon,
Lil Goon.
little goon.
Yeah.
Next up, we have other number ones. Before we get into this, just want to remind you about that website, infinityflux.net, where you can pre-order these books right now so you don't miss out on any of the good stuff that we are talking about. There's also just a lot more that we don't cover, or this show would be 9 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
So go in there, explore, pre-order. Everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of, and our eternal gratitude. So we're moving on into our other number ones.
This is Bloodshot Unleashed Reloaded. Sounds like they couldn't pick a title. Let's just do them both,
Yeah, what are all the buzzwords in
Yeah.
like an action movie?
Yeah, so Bloodshot Unleashed Reloaded. This is the first issue of a 4-issue miniseries. Bloodshot is back. After the movie, I never read any Bloodshot until the movie. I was like, I want to learn more about this
Yeah.
character, and I went on a tear and read a bunch of it.
There's a lot of really good Bloodshot
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of I'd never even really read that much Valiant until then. I read a bunch of different books. So Bloodshot is back. In this one, he tries to hang on to his own sanity and humanity while monsters from his past hunt him down. And okay, so and this says get ready for chaos and the return of Blood Squirt.
Blood Squirt.
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
I didn't know that was a typo.
That's from Jeff Lemire had a run on Bloodshot, and Blood Squirt is like kind of like a bat mite, but
Okay.
it's like
Okay.
maybe I think it's like part of his like the nanobots in his
Okay.
body and how they speak to him. But it's like a cute little Bloodshot named Blood Squirt.
Okay, I thought surely that's a misprint. Maybe they just meant to say get ready for the return of Bloodsport or Bloodshot. I mean,
Yeah.
but Blood Squirt. Okay, well, yeah. So if you like, I know there's a lot of Bloodshot fans out there,
Yeah.
and there's been a whole bunch of different Bloodshot books. And they're kind of sporadic. So if you're one of those folks that like Bloodshot, here's a new miniseries for you. So we have our A cover here, and then we have a Barry Nuevo variant as well.
Very cool. I like Bloodshot a lot. I've read a lot of him since the big Valiant relaunch. You know,
Right. Yeah, I didn't go back as far as the '90s stuff, but I did read like the what was it like late 2000s, I think, when
yeah,
they redid everything. I read a
yeah.
lot
Check
of
out the
that
Jeff
stuff.
Lemire Bloodshot stuff.
Hmm.
He had like a couple volume, and it's really really good. Next up, we have The Last Mermaid. You can't tell from right here, but this is actually a magazine-sized issue. This is by Derek Kirk Kim, who does the writing and art on it, so it's very like creator controlled. Um, and this is another one we sampled. This is really interesting. If you like that cover, I feel like the interior is very close to this. It's a very
Uh-huh.
painterly. Very there is dialogue, but it's to a minimum.
It's dialogue light, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like a completely wordless,
Right.
but because this is a lone mermaid, like a very traditional style mermaid, who we don't know a whole lot about what has happened in this world, but is pseudo post-apocalyptic, and there's seems to be next to no water left on the planet, and the mermaid is in this mech that is full of water, going from water source to water source on some kind of mission or journey. We don't quite know what that may entail or what the end goal is.
I think that's genius. Let's put a mermaid in post-apocalyptic world where there's no water. Let's put her in a mech that's full of water. I
Yeah,
love the mech design.
it's very
Like,
cool. And there's some twists and turns along the way. Some characters she'll meet, including maybe a little cute compatriot that will stick with her a little bit.
these look like wheels. It looks like it can transform into a little
It
car.
might. I'm not sure, but if you like those this is very artistic, but also a really cool kind of sci-fi fantasy, being a mermaid and all of that.
And
So
the interiors do have this sort of painted look too. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's not your traditional just line art. It does look it looks a little bit more like this.
yeah, yeah. So very cool, very unique. And if that sounds like your style, check this out because there's also only the one cover
Mm,
for it, so you don't even have to make a decision.
yeah.
It's just the one.
Next is Night People #1. This is written by Barry Guilford and Chris Condon, and the art is by Brian Level. And there was a lot of information
Yeah,
in the solicitation about this. Like, when a lot of times when we talk about Marvel books, it's like 3 sentences, and we have to try to figure out, what's going on. But this one, there was like paragraphs full of information. So I will try my best. I might have to just like read directly some stuff. And actually, I'm going to read this first one because this description sounds wild. This says a pulsating roadmap of the American subconscious where neon lit southern nights give way to lipstick, sweat, and blood, and the odd, the innocent, and the evil are all fellow travelers down an interstate of dark, elusive dreams.
somebody had a real fun
Yeah,
time writing some
that's
flowery
yeah,
text.
that's quite the description. So there's it sounds like there's a lot going on in this. So this actually adapted from a book by shoot, I can't remember who the author. It's either Barry Gifford or Chris Condon. I can't remember who the author of the book was, but it's about they're four interlocking tales of ne'er do wells, basically wanted men, cartel killers, and lost souls, and they're going to travel a path of intoxication, lust, and spontaneous violence from New Orleans to Egypt City, Florida, and back again. So this first issue, though, is focused on a pair of ex-convicts who are also inseparable lovers. They're on parole and are purifying the world of man's evil influence and leaving a trail of mutilated bodies in their wake.
Oh, fun.
So I guess I guess jail time didn't really help reform them at all. And they kidnap an attorney named Rollo Lamar to see if they can re-educate at least one man before the demise of civilization. There's a lot going on in this book,
Yeah.
but it sounds really cool. Sounds really, crime thriller, maybe a little bit, more in depth than that. But it sounds like there's a lot going on there. So we have our A cover here. We have a Joelle Jones cover, which looks really cool, and then there is a Level cover as well. Lot to chew on
Yeah, a
there.
lot of story there.
Hmm.
Next up, we have a new Ninja Turtles. I believe it's a mini series. I'm not sure how many issues, but I know it's not a one shot, and I know it's not ongoing, so it'll be a couple issues. This is TMNT Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan. I'm really interested that this is starting when it is, considering we're getting really close to kind of the big shake up in the TMNT
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Because they said, they're not restarting the continuity or anything.
Right. So
So
maybe this is like, we're gonna give you a little bit more history on the Foot Clan, because we're about to jump into a whole new thing
Yeah,
with the
I'm
Foot Clan.
not quite sure. It's interesting though, because this is by Eric Burnham and the artist by Matthias Santaluco, who I love all his work on Ninja Turtles, and Oroku Karai, who is the granddaughter
Granddaughter, Shredder.
of Shredder, is now the leader of the Foot Clan. And she can finally kind of, she's been watching, if you've read the Ninja Turtles books, you can, she's always had kind of a opinion on uh, how they should be used, how they should be, formed, all of that. And finally, she can do that herself. But she learns that Shredder gave some of the secrets of the kind of mystical parts of the Foot Clan to the Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
And these are things that should not be shared.
Yeah,
So
okay.
automatically that kind of puts an issue there. And also, she learns someone else may be laying claim to the Foot Clan destiny. So I'm not sure if this is maybe setting up, like you said, for what's to come with the Foot Clan going forward
Mhm.
once Jason Aaron takes over and all of that. I'm really interested to see this, but I just love there's another Ninja Turtles miniseries about the Foot Clan, which is always really fun. So if that sounds interesting to you, maybe you're really excited about that new Ninja Turtles story starting with the new creative team, all of that. You may want to check this one out, get maybe caught up a little bit to what's going on with the Foot Clan by the time that
Yeah.
starts.
And I just started reading the IDW series like from the beginning
Yeah.
because I'd never read it before. I started reading that first hardcover, and when she popped up, I was like, "Oh, that's the granddaughter who played a part in Last Ronin."
Yeah.
And all the stuff that came after that. So it was cool, and I didn't know that she had been around in this series for that long. But she
Yeah.
popped up in like number 7 or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah.
it was
Very
cool to
cool
see her.
character.
Yeah.
So we've got some great covers. We got this one. We also have, this is the
Says Meja.
Sismeja
Yeah.
cover. And then we have these, which I love. These, the
Yeah.
De los Muertos covers. I believe they've done one of these for each of the turtles, or they're doing all the turtles.
Yeah, it looks
So this
familiar.
one is the Donatello. And next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that either just started or are about to start. And we want to make sure that you don't miss out if you enjoyed them or you want to get on board.
This is Alien Black, White, and Blood number 2. So just like all the other Black, White, and Blood and Black, White, and Red and all those types of books, this is an anthology series with 2 or 3 different stories in each one. This one has a story that will leave you with a whole new and terrifying understanding of the xenomorphs. And there's a story of a Marine's first and possibly last day on the job, which if I were a space Marine and saw an alien, a xenomorph, that would be my last day for sure.
One way or another.
Yeah, right.
Whether by
Well,
death or resigning.
yeah, right, yeah. All right, so this is our A cover right here, and then we have a Dolly variant as well.
You're creepy.
Yeah,
That
yin
feels
yang.
very H.R. Giger though, like that. Okay, next up we have Dead X-Men number 3. So this is a really interesting series, especially when that first issue, how they kind of just jumped right into it with these X-Men that were kind of supposed to be dead after the Hellfire Gala, as they were
not so dead X-Men.
Yeah, the not so dead X-Men. And there was seemed to be brought back by Rachel Summers. Well, by issue 3, we haven't got issue 2 yet, but by issue 3, they're going to learn what is the real reason that Rachel Summers brought them back for this impossible mission as the walls of reality start to bend. So, really interested in how this is going to play into the overall Fall of X storyline. But I like that first issue, and I'm ready to check out what happens next. This is our A cover for that. We also have a Mark Brooks headshot variant. Really fun. And we have a Ryan Gonzalez variant. And continuing on, we're going to go right into Fall of the House of X number 3. I believe number 2 comes out this week. We're going to be going over it. I'm going to be reading it for our Monday show. But this, like I said, I love the kind of the spine work of all these big events, and I really enjoyed this. This is where the big things happen. You can see on there, it looks like Dr. Nemesis or whatever he's called, which is the Mr. Sinister who is wearing that suit. He's a big villain for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like he's going to be dealt with because the mutants are finally going to be fighting back. They've been taking it pretty hard from Orcus for a while. They're now turning the tides. And as one threat falls, another one rises. So I don't know if maybe they're going to be beating or Dr. Stasis, I believe is his name.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Stasis looks like maybe defeated, something else is going to be there. But very excited for that. So this is our A cover. We also have our David Yarden Farewell Krakoa variant. We have our Mark Brooks headshot
I just
variant.
want to pop.
I know. We have our Mercado variant, which I love. We had this discussion about people
Yeah.
who like Colossus with a beard, people who don't like Colossus with a beard. I think he looks awesome with
I
that
like
beard.
bearded Colossus, yeah, for sure.
That's cool. And we also have this Paulo Segura connecting variant. Which, is that a wedding?
Maybe?
Very interesting.
Huh, I don't know. Next is the second issue of Venom.
What if then?
Venom did this. All right, so this one, I mean, no secret, the symbiote bonds with Wolverine, and I am just going to read you the solicitation directly because it cannot be said better than this. It says, they're the best there is at what they do, and what they do is eat the hell out of your brain before slicing you to ribbons with 6 adamantium claws.
Wow.
That is the feel-good story of the year right there. And that's pretty much, I mean, that's all you need. It sells itself. Wolverine gets the Venom symbiote.
Yep.
That's it. Buy it, order it, pre-order it because it looks
I feel
really
like
cool.
you know exactly what the story is gonna
Yeah,
be like,
that
and
is,
look like, and
you know, that is the '90s, all wrapped up into one book right there. So
it
yeah,
just needs a big gun, like a big
Oh,
and
yeah.
one shiny cable eye.
right, and then a bunch of pouches. So that's our A cover right there, and then we have a Gerardo Sandoval variant as well.
That's
That
really
looks-
cool.
That looks different than the other one.
Yeah,
That's
they look like very different suits.
yeah, I wonder if he like evolves, or maybe it's just like just go design whatever, or maybe
I like how his mask looks like kind of an organic
yeah,
mask. That's really cool.
yeah.
Okay, next up we have Star Wars Mace Windu #2. We just got #1 this week. I really enjoyed it. And you know, Mace is a complicated character. There was some discussion about one of the final pages. He takes a pretty forward approach to a situation. But we're continuing on with this one as Mace and Azita Cruz, the new character that made her appearance in the last one, must work together to survive the boar worm, which is I'm clearly guessing that's what's on the cover right there. And it also teases what is Coaxium Ultra, which just sounds like a weird drink or something.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Sounds like a motor oil.
Yeah, you've got Coaxium, which you know helps with hyperdrives. Coaxium Ultra,
Yeah.
you can go even faster, go even longer.
A little more fuel efficient, but it's more expensive.
It's a little bit more expensive, but you'll need less oil changes.
Right.
So this is our A cover for that, and we also have the Darbo Women's History Month variant.
Next is Batman 89 Echoes #2. This is 6 issue.
Forever since the last
I was
one.
going to say the same thing because when I was making my notes for this, I was like, you know, this is one of those where the first issue hasn't come out, but then I thought, wait a minute, it did, and it felt like it was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there, or maybe it just felt like that. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. But second issue, written by Sam Hamm. The art is by Joe Quinones, just like the last miniseries was. And we know from the first issue that Batman is missing, and even Alfred doesn't know where he is. But he's going to turn to Drake Winston, who is this world's Robin, and also Barbara Gordon for help finding him. So while all that's going on over at Arkham Asylum, Dr. Jonathan Crane and Dr. Harleen Quinzel are fighting over the new celebrity patient who just admitted. And if you read the first issue, you know exactly who that is, and maybe that tells you well. But yeah, so like I said, it feels like it's been a while, but it is back with issue #2 right here, and I love that design for Batgirl. I love
I would say if that's Barbara as like Batman,
I think so. I mean,
that's a really cool suit. It looks way more like mature and like closer to Batman.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think it's cool to see classic characters Burtonized, if you will, because there's Harley Quinn right there. That's what she, I guess, would look like in this Burton universe, and I just like seeing stuff like that. So there's our A cover by Joe Quinones, and there's a Daniel Warren Johnson cover, which I want that just for the cover, the classic '89 Batmobile. Batman's up there. Yeah,
this is the most impractical Batcave. Like you're got to jump. From
how does he get down to that?
ledge.
Yeah, he uses his cape.
You must have a grappling hook and cape to traverse that. Next up, we got Sinister Sons #2. And this is another one we'll be going over issue number 1 coming up this week. So I'm very interested to see kind of what the tone of this and what the story they're going to be telling is. But in this one, it just kind of says that, Lorzod and Sinsum, they're on a destructive path across the galaxy, as you can imagine they would be. But I think, from what I can tell, as this begins, they do not get along. I think
Right.
it's going to be a kind of who's the bigger, badder boy in this. So this is going to be really fun to see, and I can't wait to read number 1 of this. This is our A cover for that, and we also have this Jamal Campbell variant, which I really like.
And next is Red Hood the Hill. This, the first issue of this comes out next week, so we'll be talking about it next Monday. But this is the second issue. It's going to be a 6-issue miniseries. And it says that the relationship between Jason Todd and Dana Harlow, who is the new character Strike that we're going to see in that miniseries when it comes out, the relationship becomes strained when Jason urges her to give up being a vigilante. But also, there's going to be a little bit of jealousy that drives a wedge between Jason and one of his oldest friends. So a lot going on there. And then also, there's 2 different villains. One is named Demetrius Corley Jr., and the other villain is Sluku. It sounds like a Star Wars character. Maybe I wrote that down wrong, but they both have plans for the Hill and what will happen when they converge. So I guess that's gonna kind of be what Red Hood and Strike and whoever else. Maybe that's what they fight in this miniseries. It'll all make much more sense when we read the first issue next week. But if you did pre-order that first one, then this is the second issue. So pre-order that one as well. This is our A cover by Sanford Green, and we have a Riley Rossmo variant.
Very cool.
That looks really cool.
Yeah, I like that. Next up, we got cool covers. There's a lot here. There's a lot of really cool covers this week. Starting off with Amazing Spider-Man number 45. This is our Carmen Carnero variant, who is your interior artist on this issue. So I'm really excited to see Carnero's work in Amazing Spider-Man. I really like her art.
I loved her work on Kelly Thompson's Captain Marvel and her work on Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. Like, it's just great.
She's fantastic, and so I'm very excited to see her Spider-Man. This is going to be a really nice issue, I'm guessing. And this is a post-Gang War issue. And it says something is a new threat is bubbling up from Ravencroft. So going back to Ravencroft, who knows what spooky things may be there. But like I said, this is our Carnero variant, and then we have our Disney variant as well. And what is this?
Avengers number 16.
Okay.
When Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver join the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And next is Avengers Twilight number 4. This is the Avengers are on the run from the new Avengers. So I guess it's maybe the team that Captain America's running around put together with Kamala Khan.
I thought you were calling it the Defenders.
Well, I did too. They've been referring to themselves as the Defenders, but this is the Avengers are on the run from the new Avengers, and I'm guessing the new Avengers is like the corporate Avengers that we've seen in this series so far. What I'm interested in is what is the terrible secret of Iron Man, the Wasp, and H-Day? Because H-Day is kind of the catalyst. We didn't actually see it, but we saw some of it in the flashback, I think in the first issue. And that's sort of what caused the way the world is now in this book. So
does that have to do with Hulk?
No.
Okay.
I think a bunch of it sounded very Old Man Logan in that a bunch of the villains teamed up.
Okay.
But it was a little different from Old Man Logan, but it had that same kind of vibe. So we're going to learn more about that and Iron Man. And I guess maybe Iron Man, who I think in this is James Stark, Tony and the Wasp's son, or maybe it's Iron Man, like Tony.
Yeah.
Maybe Tony and the Wasp did something to. I don't know. Well, we're gonna find out issue number 4. That's our A cover right here, though. We have
that Thor, like that helmet. That's
that is cool. I like that. We have a Carmen Carnero. We just saw a cover, so there's another one. There is a Francesco Mobley variant. That's your Captain. That's your older Steve Rogers in his new suit. And there's Mark Brooks headshot variant, which I don't think we've seen Vision yet. So.
Yeah, who knows if he'll be in it or if that's just they just plugged a Vision onto a Avengers book.
Right.
Okay, next up we've got Star Wars Darth Vader number 44, and we're going to be seeing more of the Mar Corps, which is the group of rebel cyborgs that we met, I believe, last issue, and they are coming for Vader. Meanwhile, it also says who are Vader's new troopers. So I'm always a big fan when there's a new trooper design or something like that. So this will be cool. This is, I believe this is the, this is Rebels 10th anniversary cover with Sabine. And then we have the Savage Women's History Month variant with Ray, which I think this is really cool because we've never seen Ray swing her yellow lightsaber.
That's true.
So this is kind of this is a post Rise of Skywalker image.
And next is
Carnage.
Carnage. Well, I had to double check that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Carnage number 5. This is the Jan Basil Dewis Stormbreakers variant. Spider-Gwen has nothing to do with this whatsoever, but she's on the cover. Yeah, but I will tell you though that we talked about Venom number 31, I believe, last week, and this is kind of like I think this is like the next part of that story because it says it follows the events of Venom number 31, and we know that in that issue, Dylan Brock goes up against Carnage. And in this issue, Carnage has captured Dylan Brock, but he may just be bait for Eddie. Like Carnage may have just captured Dylan in order to face off against Eddie. So, you know, if you read number 31, or if you pre-ordered because it's not out yet, but if you pre-ordered Venom 31, don't miss this because it sounds like it's the continuation of that story. So again, the Stormbreakers variant with Spider-Gwen, who is not part of this, and then there is the Ken Lashley connecting variant. Oh, maybe it connects with. I don't remember if number 31 had a connecting cover.
Either.
I think it probably did. So yeah, here's
this
the other
is
piece of
that
it.
New Carnage versus Venom storyline.
Right. I can't remember the name of the story, but yeah.
Next up, we've got Wolverine. This is Wolverine number 45, continuing with this Sabretooth War. This is going to be part 5. I think I'm going over part 3 this coming week.
Yeah, I think you're doing number 43, right?
43, yeah. So this is coming out pretty consistent. They're rushing through the storyline, but in a good way because I'm glad we don't have to wait for too much of this. But in this, Sabretooth is on the hunt for an item that will finally end Wolverine. I've got to think it's the Muramasa blade.
Yeah.
That's because it mentions like a weapon and an item, and it's like, well, that's traditionally the thing that they use. So of course this is the Mark Brooks headshot variant, and then we also have this Mike McKone Sabretooth variant, which is Age of Apocalypse Sabretooth,
which I love that design. When I saw it back in the 90s, like that's, and he was a good guy there. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
And then we also have the Wolverine action figure variant, and it says not final art, and this is, I think, wraparound. Like this just straight up, I believe, is just the box art for the Marvel Legends for the X-Men 97 line.
Yeah, that does not look like the cover. Maybe it's the back.
This is the back.
And the cover is the box art cover. Like
yeah, but there's no Wolverine on the cover. Oh. It's like this is just the file they used as the box part of it. I'm not weird. Sure. We'll have to wait because there's a couple of these to see like what these actually are going to look like.
That's a little weird.
I have that Wolverine though, and I have that Bishop, and I have that Magneto.
And they just announced like Cyclops and Nightcrawler, and that whole wave is coming.
That's really good with that other Magneto look where he's got like the big M.
Yeah. And next up is Immortal Thor number 8. In this one, Thor confronts his mother Gaia about her machinations in Midgard and the secrets that she hid from him. And we are getting closer to that crazy storyline. The Roxxon presents the Roxxon Thor.
They're just teasing us because that's what I really want to read.
Yeah. So, but this cover is really cool. This is the Alexander Lozano variant, and that looks awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and whoops! Hold on, I gotta go to the next page. We got one more.
For you.
A Mark Brooks headshot variant, and that is Thor.
That's Thor. That's like a 90s
that's
Thor.
90s Thor. Yeah, when he got all that crazy armor and
a beard.
Yeah, I like bearded Thor.
Yeah, me too. It's becoming of him.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Spider-Gwen Smash number 4. Some great covers for this, like this David Nakayama A cover where she is facing off against Carnage, Mary Jane. But it does say in this that she'll have to pick a side, which usually the side is, good, but maybe it's not so clear in this. And we're leading up to a new Spider-Gwen series. Don't know if this is going to connect to it at all, but it's all part of her life. So,
sure.
This is a pretty cool one. So this is our A cover. And then I really like this one. This is the Lupacchio variant where she's playing drums for Dazzler.
Yeah, that's awesome. And next is Batman number 145. Now, number 142 just came out this week. It's the start of the Joker Year 1 storyline. That story is only going to be 3 issues. So this being 145, it's the start of the next story arc called Dark Prisons, but it's still part of that much larger Zur and Awe story that they've been telling for a while now, but they've just been dividing it up into little different story arcs. So this is the start of the next story arc in that larger story. Batman's going to have to engineer an escape from the prison that Zur and Awe put him in, which is what he's in right now in the current day while we read the Joker Year One storyline. And what secret does Zur now hold that is a game changer for the Dark Knight and also the entire DC universe? So I want to know a little bit more about that. So it's all going to kick off right here. This is the Bruno Redondo B cover, and then we have the Yasmin Putri variant as well.
It's a very interesting story.
That's the is that the pearls? Is that Mom's pearls?
Oh no, not the pearls.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Superman Action Comics number 1063. This is the finale of the Bizarro storyline, the 3-issue Bizarro storyline. We'll be going over part 2 on Monday when we review that issue, but I'm very excited to check it out. And this wrapping up the first of our Superman Superstars 3-issue miniseries. This is this is the Jimenez variant, which I love. It's a great Clark. Too. And then we also have this really cool Paulo Rivera, which is just like a little mini comic.
Yeah.
Super cool.
2 comics in one, basically.
Yeah.
And next is Batman and Robin number 7. This one, Batman and Robin search for Man-Bat and Shush gets interrupted by the return of Flatline. We haven't seen her in a while. But what has followed her to Gotham? So it sounds like there might be some ties to, the Robin series from a couple years back. Yeah, and this series has been just super fun so far. And this is our Kale New variant.
And next up, we got Birds of Prey issue number 7. They've kind of are wrapping up the Themyscira storyline, and it seems like there's still ramifications from that, but this is kind of kicking off a new storyline because there's a conspiracy against the Birds of Prey, and there is going to be a whole new mission and a new team formed. This is another one I got to sample some pages of, and some pretty cool characters make an appearance in this. Maybe they'll be added to the Birds of Prey, and the pretty spicy last page.
Yes, it is.
Pretty cool one here. This is our Zerdy. We've been getting a few of these Zerdy like tattoo variants. They're pretty cool. We also have this Villalobos variant. And we have this Suzumaka Women's History Month variant with a really cool black canary.
Yeah, I love that. And next is Green Lantern number 9. We will be talking about number 8 next week. Number 8 comes out on Monday. In this one, a Green Lantern seeks out a mystical source to help him leave the atmosphere because he's stuck. Every time he tries to fly out into space, his ring kind of fritzes out on him and he starts falling to Earth again. So he's going to try to get some help with that. And it's going to lead him to a mysterious gateway and surprising answers to the origin of his ring, which we know from the first issue. He just sort of willed that ring into existence from the energy of an old manhunter. There's more there more there for us to learn about. And that's going to happen in this issue. So this is the Doc Shaner cover. And then there is the Zerdy variant featuring Carol Ferris.
Yeah, and so we know this issue coming up has the Kyle Rayner backup story. Does this continue Kyle Rayner backup story?
It didn't say anything about that.
Okay,
but
I hope it does because I want some more of that classic Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, me too.
Very cool. Next one, we've got Poison Ivy, issue number 20. I just talked about the issue that came out this week on our previous shows because it's really cool. It's kind of a new retelling of the origin of Poison Ivy. And
like
kind
a
of
secret origin
the
of
secret
Poison
origin,
Ivy, yeah.
But like pre-Batman when she is like a student and she's interested in botany and chemistry and all of that. And that is continuing here. It's called Origin of Species. So very cool storyline. I'm excited to continue that one. This is our David Nakayama cover. We also have a Janet Paquette variant. I love this where she's like growing a poison ivy.
Yeah.
And then we've got another great Suzumaka Women's History Month variant. And lastly, we've got graphic novels and more. So we've got some reprints and collected editions, all of that to talk about. Starting with...
This is Batman number 142, second print. So like I said, it came out this week. and I guess it's going to second print. This is the beginning of this is the start of the Joker Year One storyline. This cover was the foil cover for the first printing of 142, and now I think it's just, I don't think that's foil, right? It's just like the regular. But
this was sold out pretty fast too.
Yeah.
We also have Batman Detective Comics 411 Facsimile Edition coming out, which is your first Ra's al Ghul, correct?
I think so. I don't remember.
I'm trying to.
I thought that. I think so, because isn't that that's his henchman. That's his right hand guy.
But this classic issue that is very significant.
For reasons.
For reasons. You're also going to have the foil edition of it and the sketch cover version of it. So don't miss out on that.
Next is the Zatanna by Paul Dini trade paperback. So this is really cool. This is going to be $49.99. It's going to collect Zatanna number 1 through 16, and then the Zatanna Everyday Magic issue, and then the DC Infinite Halloween special as well. So it's cool. Just get a big book full of Zatanna, who is a great character. No.
This is a reprint of this too. It came out quite a few years ago. This Paul Dini collection. This is where you had those great Adam Hughes covers. This is so much fun. I was reading this as it came out. Just like, if you want a good Zatanna series, check this one out. It's really fun. She gets turned into a puppet in one of them. It's just crazy, but just a lot of fun. Next up, we have, this is Star Wars Legends Tales of the Jedi Omnibus. And this is really cool. This is some of my favorite classic Dark Horse Star Wars stories, because this is going to collect the Tales of the Jedi, which was back in like the 90s, but also it puts it in a little bit of chronological order with the Dawn of the Jedi series that came out not too long before Marvel reacquired Star Wars. But the Dawn of the Jedi is the earliest stories. It's like before the Force had a name, the Jedi had a name. It was kind of the discovering of all of that stuff. It was a really weird, interesting, almost felt like more of a fantasy story because you didn't have those names attached to it, going all the way through the Jedi versus Sith kind of first conflicts, all of that. So if you want to check out some of those classic stories that they're pulling a lot from now, check this out. It's really good. So this is our main cover. This is $150. And then we also have the direct market cover that's Ulic Queldroma. And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. We had a big week this week with a lot of really good stuff. And don't miss out on any of it. So head over to infinityflux.net and pre-order it while it's available up until this weekend. Sunday around 9 o'clock is your final chance to order these. Anything else? I don't think we have anything else. Just,
again, please pre-order. If you want any of these books right now, please pre-order by this weekend to ensure that you actually get it. And like we said, you can actually go to infinityflux.net right now and pre-order all of them. They're all right there right now. There's no having to wait for them to get loaded up. They're right there. You can click it, order right now.
And no limit. If you want 44 copies of Ultimate Black Panther and you're willing to pay for it, you can do it. So just really cool stuff there. Make sure to like and subscribe, do all that stuff that we really appreciate. And until next time,
see ya.